Good morning, everybody. SoCal Forest Ninjas here. Back with you, another examination video. Instead of a bag. Well, we got bags too, but a pumpkin. So the pumpkin thing worked. This is what I asked for. This is absolutely what I asked for. This is what I was hoping would happen. And I even made a comment when I put these out there. It would be great if one would just take a bite and drop it so I can find it. Well, I put 3 pumpkins out. 2 are completely missing. This is the only one I found with a big bite mark in it. That scar was actually from when it was still on the vine. To me, it looks like a slight touch of a machete mark, and it started to heal while it was on the vine. So upon looking at this, I see several things. Several investigative bites. One of them being right here, these marks right here. Another one being a little bit lower across. There's another one too, right here. Looks like it may have, and also the stem. You can see that chunk. It's a straight line across right there. I think it may have tried to, and y'all know how hard pumpkin stem is when it dries. You can basically build a house with it if you had enough of it. There's also what looks to be a fingernail mark right there. Now I say fingernail because it's got a slight curve to it, as if it dug its fingernail into it, and I can't dig my fingernail into it because, well, I don't have fingernails for one. Well, I do, but they're very short. But it seems that, this is just a theory, but from what I've gathered from this is that it picked it up, investigated it a little bit, bit the stem, and was probably turning it and looking at it because all these, they seem to be at different angles. So I think he was, whichever one, probably, I get the feeling this is big feller right here. I get the feeling this is big feller right here. Turning it around, looking at it, and then, bite it, turn it, and check it out, bite it, and, the stem, and then just went, alright, nope, don't like it, and dropped it. So, so first I got my tape measure here. This is the one I carry with me everywhere. It's 12 feet. I've measured, footprints with it and all kinds of stuff. So the first measurement I'm going to take is across here. Now remember, an arc in a measurement adds length. So after that measurement, I will then just try and hold it flat and get a measurement that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the end of the tape measure in one of these, come across, and get a measurement to the other side. So I'll try and get one that's flat. That would be good for, so I've got it, putting it right there in that one, and coming straight across to the other side, and we're looking at almost 5 inches right there, almost 5 inches straight across like that. Now remember, an arc adds length, so if I hold it straight across, four inches. I don't know if I can do this, but yeah, 4 inches across. That's a big mouth. That's a big mouth. That's 4 inches. So, and that's to the teeth. To the teeth. So, next measurement I want to do is from the back side here, again, across here to the other side. And again, an arch adds length, so it's going to be hard to do that measurement because of the shape of the pumpkin, the straight across measurement. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold it to the back side right there, because that would have been the front of the teeth, and then it would have filled in back behind it. So if I hold it there, comes straight across like that. What is that? 5.5 inches? Yeah, 5.5 inches right there. So if I were to hold this how I think it was being held on that big bite, and try and measure how far in its mouth. Well, actually, I'd be able to have to measure the stem too, but as for just the pumpkin part, about 4 inches. So this thing, here's what I think. Okay, you got this, right? That big, obvious round circle mark. It held it like this and went bit. A good way to, this part is a lot of damage. That's obvious. I think that's from the top teeth. If you bite into an apple, for a human, if you bite into an apple, check this out. Your bottom teeth are flat, and they basically just kind of hold the pressure. They don't really penetrate anything, and then the top comes down, and the top is what penetrates and starts the crushing process of eating. So I think it came in, it pushed down. My fingers are the top teeth. The bottom held the pressure, and it did that damage. After that, it was probably pretty irritated that it wasn't a giant gummy pumpkin. Dropped it. Don't like it. So I've also been looking at some of these marks individually, and I'm looking at these right here are going across. I'm going to try and measure one of those. We'll take that one right there, seems to be the most defined, and that one, see if there's any consistency in them. So if I hold, now I'm starting at number 2, so 2 would just be 1. And I go across, let me do that, 3/4 of an inch across. Now if I go to the next one, do the same thing. That is also 3/4 of an inch across. Go to the one on the other side. Also 3/4 of an inch across. So there's definitely some consistency from tooth to tooth, for sure. When I picked this up in my video, and I kind of laughed, because the first thing that came to my mind was with the shopping bag experiment that failed. I tried putting everything in a shopping bag and just hanging it. And Max Powers is actually, I think, correct on this theory. It has to do with the plastic. Not so much of the smell of it or anything like that, but the texture and the noise it makes. Now this is the actual bag from Fletch's. This is just your normal grocery bag. Very loud. And this is an actual Ziploc that I used and had actually collected yesterday. And it's a lot quieter. So I think it has to do with the noise of the bag, which is why they didn't touch them. No one touched it. Fletch, Big Fella, or Mercy didn't touch the bags. I ended up just gathering them all, putting them in my backpack, and just going back to putting them back in between the branches at Fletch's. And that was actually when I got the bucket for Mercy's and started doing the bucket thing. But the bag from Fletch's, when I pulled it off, I noticed this. That spot right there. And I'm sitting here looking at it, and I went like this. I folded it over and went, interesting. It matches up from side to side. And that would be consistent with investigation with their mouth. So I think he could smell the stuff in the bag and may have thought it was a trap or something like that and just kind of bit it thinking that it was the bag itself that smelled that way. This is not a rodent. This bag was just hanging on a branch like so. It was very easy for a rodent to get in there and eat, and a rodent did get in there and eat because I did find a partially eaten banana and a partially eaten apple. However, I think there was peanuts in there. Only the peanuts was nibbled into. So yeah, there was rodent damage inside. That is not a rodent. That's not a rodent. That's a perfect circle. If you fold it in half, that's yet another bite mark. And it's very similar to this one. This one's a lot bigger. That's why I think this was Big Feller. So if I fold that in half, come across with my tape measure, we get 4.5 inches. That's to the inside of the teeth. So that would have been, probably closer to 5.5 inches at the outside of the teeth. My guesstimate. Now, he didn't bite into it too much. It was probably just the front third of his teeth, just the front bits. Only went in maybe 2 inches. Airplane. So, we'll let that pass. But this pumpkin is very similar to the shopping bag. Very similar to the shopping bag. And y'all know how tough pumpkin rind is. For something to do that much damage, took a lot of force. to bite that stem, a lot of force, absolute a lot of force. But I mean, aside from the pumpkin and everything, we got our typical Ziploc bags. For those of you who've been following my channel for a while, you know that the bags are never opened the way they're intended to. Always tore open, ripped open. Yeah, this isn't animal claws. This isn't rodent chewing. This is pulled, stretched, and ripped open. That right there is stretching. That's pulling and stretching and ripping, which takes hands to do. It's in the human subconscious that when they pick up a Ziploc bag, they open it normal, is the way it's intended to be opened, is to either not spill the contents or not to damage the part that hold the contents. Just what we do. That's just the way they're intended to open. It's ingrained in our brains subconsciously. That's how you do it. So we got 3 bags from yesterday, all ripped open, pulled, stretched. Here's the other one, same thing, ripped open, pulled and stretched. You can actually see some of the stretching right there. And of course, still sealed. Bag number 3, completely tore open, completely ripped open. You can see pulled and stretched. You can actually see that little piece right there. Just get you. That's stretching. That's what these bags do. And again, sealed. And that goes along with the dozens and dozens of bags that I have, all the same way, ripped open. This was actually something, I don't know what did that. I can't explain that. That was actually, I think, a couple weeks ago. All sealed. All sealed. All ripped open, pulled and stretched, all sealed. Dozens of them. Dozens and dozens of bags. So those are going in that collection with the Fletch bite. And Miss Pumpkin. You get a pumpkin. Yeah, it's probably a little bit bigger than a softball. Get a small pumpkin and try and bite it. I guarantee you're not going to do that damage. You're not going to do that damage. So several investigators, something sat there and investigated this. Did a couple of little nibbles, maybe stuck a fingernail in it. Went, okay, hasn't exploded on me. And just went to town on it. Realized, nope, don't like it, and dropped it. So there you go, people. That's the pumpkin. Big, huge bite mark in it. Several bite marks in it, but one big one. And very interesting. I mean, we're talking 3/4 of an inch wide teeth at the front. And I believe that would have been the bottom teeth that we measured. Because when I hold this and I go in, that would have been the perfect bite. So I think that would have been the bottom. This big damage would have been the top. Like I said, try the whole apple thing. Just put an apple in your mouth and just slowly apply pressure. And I'm almost positive that your bottom teeth are going to hold it, and the top teeth are going to penetrate. But then again, everyone's different. Everyone eats apples. I've seen people, bite into an apple and yank it from the bottom. You know what I mean? I've seen people do it from the top, bite into it and just yank it from the top to pull a chunk off. Everyone's different, but I think in this case, the bottom teeth held the pressure and the top teeth penetrated in. I wish I could measure the top teeth, but unfortunately, there's just too much damage at the top to get any kind of measurement. I was looking at these right here, this mark right here. It almost looks like a molar. Almost looks like molar marks right here. You got the 4 points. It's in a square pattern. This one, you got the point there, you got the point there. The angle, the shape of the pumpkin curved, so it missed that point, but it caught this and penetrated there. I think those may have been molars. Again, I'm not a forensic scientist or anything like that. I'm just going on by what I see. But there was definitely several investigation bites on it, with something with a very big mouth and very big teeth, very big, flat, wide teeth. So there you have it, people. Here's the pumpkin. So that's a big bite. Big bite. Perfect round circle, just like the bag. I don't know what else to say about it. It was actually pretty incredible. I'm very, very happy it worked. And it's kind of funny that I said, wouldn't that be cool if one of them were to take a bite and just drop it? Well, it happened. So, there you go. So, thank you all for joining me. Let me know your opinions and thoughts in the comments. Keep it clean, keep it respectful. And I'd also like to send, tell everybody, send prayers to Lewis and his uncle. His uncle's not doing too well, and we hope he pulls through. So send prayers to Lewis and his uncle John. However, Lewis, because of the family issues going on right now, will not be joining us on tonight's podcast, on the Bigfoot Research Evidence podcast. He will be busy spending it with family and praying for his uncle John, our wonderful moderator on the podcast. And be sure, tune into the podcast. We have Tom Cantrell on tonight, talking about his new book that just hit the stands, and I think this is going to be number 13 for him. So check out his books. They're really good information. Tom's been doing this for a very, very long time. Even before the Patterson Gimlin video came out, he's been doing this. So go check it out. Check out his books. And be sure to tune into the podcast tonight at 5 o'clock. And I'll see you all there. Happy hunting.